States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening, Ms. Parker. Can we get a roll call, please?
Chair Cobb,
Present.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Present.
Tommy Old,
Present.
Pam Pereza,
Here.
Rodney Walton,
Here.
and Sharon Warden.
Present.
Thank you. At this time, Ms. Warden, would you please read the ethics awareness statement?
Sure will. Welcome to the July 24th, 2023 meeting of the Elizabeth City Pasquotank Board of Education. It is my duty to remind members of the board that it is our responsibility to avoid all conflicts of interest and potential conflicts of interest in accordance with Chapter 138A of North Carolina General Statutes. As public servants, it is our duty to continually monitor, evaluate, and manage our personal, financial, and professional affairs in such a way as to ensure the absence of conflicts or potential conflicts. Does any member know of any conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest with respect to any matter coming before the board today? Let the record reflect that no conflicts exist.
Thank you, Ms. Warden. At this time, before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Dr. Keith Parker for being with us as the superintendent of Elizabeth City Pasquotank Public Schools for over a year now. This is the first meeting that we have had as a board since he came on board with us last July 1st. And we just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you for all that you've done for us in this last year, and we can't wait to see what the next year will bring.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that.
At this time, can I get an approval of a motion to approve our agenda for this evening?
I move that we approve the agenda for July 24th, 2023 as presented.
Second.
Motion has been put on the floor by Ms. Warden and seconded by Mr. Walton to approve our agenda. Is there any discussion? Ms. Parker, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
and Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I am going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Sheila Williams for board vacancy seat interviews and selection. Dr. Williams.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, we have a seat that we are required to fill on the Board of Education for ECPPS schools. We had candidates to submit applications, and we had 3 applications selected for interview. And I believe that all of those applicants, who are all behind me, are present this evening. And so hopefully you can hear me clearly. I think they can. Thank you. I hate having my back turned to you. So tonight, first of all, I want to thank everyone who applied to serve in this role, and with a thought of supporting ECPPS, the families, the students, and the community. We have 3 who will be interviewed tonight. It will be a very short interview, just 2 questions, because the candidates submitted information, their applications that we have all had, meaning all of the board members had an opportunity to read their responses. But we will have 2 questions that is pretty much a follow-up to the questions that they had answered on the application. So we will ask the 2 questions. We will let you all know of the candidates that you have the opportunity to remain present in this room during the questioning of the other candidates, or you can step outside of the room during that time, but we will give you that option. So part of what we are doing tonight is we will interview you, and then we will make a decision. We have a ballot that is here that we will each complete, and we will have Ms. Parker. Ms. Parker, will you wave your hand? Okay. Once we've completed this part of this process, she will collect these and she will tally, and this will be all done tonight during this meeting, and then the person who is selected will be announced. And so I will be asking the 2 questions, same 2 questions. We will not have follow-up questions. We may have clarification if it's something we did not understand due to a microphone. However, we will not ask additional questions, so it will remain fair. Okay? And we are going to begin. And we will have our first person to come forward. Did I leave anything out? I'm going to ask other board members. I think we're all set, right? Okay. So then you will go to the microphone to my left. And our first candidate is Mrs. Valerie Bogue. Okay, good evening, Ms. Bogues. Thank you for being here. First question is, share with us why you would like to serve on the ECPPS Board of Education. The second question, and which I can repeat it after your first one, the second question will be, what qualifications will you bring to the board in an effort to enhance ECPPS? So let's go back to the first one. Share with us why you would like to serve on the ECPPS Board of Education.
Okay, after being retired 5 years, I thought I was pretty much done with education, but I think I still have a little more to give, and I've been a student of the system way back when. As a matter of fact, this was my first school that we're in now. I've been a parent in the system and a teacher for 15 years, as well as 15 years at Currituck. And so I know what it takes, you know, to be a board, well, not really what it means to be a board member, but to be a member of any organization. And I think I'm willing to put in whatever effort and give whatever insight I have to the board.
Okay, thank you. And of course, the second question, what qualifications will you bring to the board?
Okay, I do believe I have good leadership skills because, you know, as I said on my application and resume, I sat on the SIT team either at Currituck or it was ECPPS for probably over 15 years combined. And I was English department chair for a number of years at both Currituck and Northeastern. And I think I am sympathetic to all people, and I believe that stakeholders, we're all stakeholders, and that we need to look at everybody basically the same. And I think that's really important. And I want everybody to be able to have a voice, even if it's through me or you or whatever, but everybody has that right. So I'm using my voice. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, our next candidate, Mrs. Mariella Lee. And I am calling these in ABC order.
Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, Mrs. Lee. Thank you for joining us tonight. So again, we have 2 questions. The first question, share with us why you would like to serve on the ECPPS Board of Education. And the second question, what qualifications will you bring to the board in an effort to enhance ECPPS?
Okay, I sort of had a bucket list of things that I would like to do. after I retired, and being on the board was one of them. Also, I would like to be on the Board of Trustees at Elizabeth City State. So it was sort of like something, a dream that I had had that I would like to do.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question, what qualifications will you bring to the board in an effort to enhance ECPPS?
Well, I believe that I will bring a lot of experience. I have been on the Board of Trustees at Albemarle, Sentara Hospital. I was also, I served as the vice chair at one point in time. I've also been on the State Board of Education for career exploration, serving as the chairperson there. And so I understand the way things work. I understand that sometimes there are decisions that have to be made. I'm a team player. I also express my opinion, but I would not hold a vote just because it was not my way. I would do it as a group type thing.
Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, and our final candidate, Mr. Timothy Stallings, Jr. Mr. Stallings? Ditto. No. Okay, just kidding. Same questions. The first one, share with us why you would like to serve on the ECPPS Board of Education. And the second question, what qualifications will you bring to enhance the efforts here at ECPPS?
First of all, thank you to the board, to Dr. Parker, to all that are here tonight. I am delighted to be here. I'm just in my mind, I'm just thinking of a quote from Dr. King: if I can help someone along the way, then my living will not be in vain. Our purpose for being here is always to educate our children. I'm standing here tonight and I'm just thinking of an old boss, my old principal, Mr. Lindsey James. He had a saying, children first, children second, children always. So children is a part of my life. I believe that this going into this new era, they need the best to go forward, and I just want to be a part of that experience.
Okay, thank you. And second question, what qualifications will you bring to the board in an effort to enhance ECPPS?
Well, working over 20 years here in this district, with the partnership with administrative staff and teachers and building relationships with the students and with their parents, I believe community-oriented and mindset to build up our district even the more would love to be a part of the team. I believe it's no I in team, and teamwork makes the dream work. So I firmly believe as we work together to go forward for the betterment of Elizabeth City Public Schools, I believe I will be a great asset to this board.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to all of our candidates. If you'll give us just a few minutes.
Okay, that is the end of the interview process for our school board candidates. At this time, board members, I need a motion in accordance with Board Policy 2115 for the board to vote now by written ballot to fill the vacancy. Okay.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Walton, and can I get a second, please?
Second.
I don't know who said it first. Okay, Ms. Pereza. Thank you. Okay, at this time, board members, you have in front of you a board ballot. Yes, sir. Oh, that's right, we sure do. We need a roll call vote on that, Ms. Parker. I apologize.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes?
Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
and Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, at this time, you have a written ballot in front of you. You are to check one candidate that you are interested in casting your vote for, and then you are to sign the bottom of the ballot. And if you'll just fold it in half after you finish, Ms. Parker will come and collect your ballots. So yes, Ms. Parker, at this time, if you will read the votes out loud to us, please. Ms. Buggs, by a vote of 4-1, welcome aboard. We would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Board of Education, and we will, of course, be in touch with you for planning purposes. Your swearing in will be on August 21st at our committee meeting, and Dr. Parker, myself, will be reaching out to you in the coming days. Congratulations. Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn our meeting over to Dr. Parker for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and again, congratulations, Ms. Buggs, and thank you to all of our candidates that applied and were interviewed here tonight. Very excited about the process tonight. I want to just share a couple of things with the public and the board. One, I'm very, very proud and excited of the event we hosted on July 10th, which was our strategic planning retreat, where we invited everybody in the community, every parent, every student, every staff member to come out to Elizabeth City State University at the K.E. White Center, and we really just got some feedback from our community on what is becoming our new vision for our schools for the next 5 years and beyond. And we just really had a wonderful day. And I'm so proud of our community because in the middle of July, we had almost 200 folks come out and join us on a Monday. And I think that really speaks to how much our community cares about our public schools. And so I want to thank the community for that. We're weeks away. We're very close from announcing a new strategic plan that includes a new vision and some priorities for the school system. And so the Board of Education will have an opportunity in August to share that with the board and announce that publicly. But I want to thank everybody who's helped us along the way. I also want to say that this past week, last Wednesday, myself, some staff members, some members of the board, and 8 students had an opportunity to attend the Committee of 100 luncheon at Mid-Atlantic Christian University with some of our business partners, elected officials, and we were asked to speak on behalf of the schools. And our students shared some of the things that they've been working on, some of their passions and interests, and I just continue to be so proud of our young people and their ability to talk about things they care about, things they love, And I've said this before, you can go to any young person in our schools and you can ask them about anything, and they have opinions, they have beliefs, they have knowledge, they're very intelligent and articulate. And I had someone come to me after the talk was over, and they said, I have just never heard young people be so articulate about their future. And so any chance that we have to bring our young people and have them speak on behalf of our schools, we're taking that, and that was just a wonderful opportunity. Next week, we're hosting a district leadership retreat for our principals, assistant principals, directors, and then 30 of our emerging leaders that we have enrolled in our leadership development program. And we're going to be going to Mid-Atlantic Christian University for these sessions, and very excited about that as we continue to plan for the opening of school. And if you're like me, you may be wondering exactly where did the month of July go. It was here, and then it went away just like that. And so our attention now that we've come out of our summer school program is pivoting toward opening school and preparing for the 5,000 young people that are headed our way in just a couple of weeks. And we'll be doing some really intensive planning and preparation next week for that. August 15th is the first day when teachers return for teacher work days. And then on August 16th, we're going to be having our back-to-school convocation for our staff. And a little over 800 staff members are going to come together at Northeastern High School to just celebrate and just have a great time as we kind of kick off our planning for start of school. And then on August 28th, we'll have about 5,000 young people that will have to get up early and get on school buses or get in cars, and then they'll be back in classrooms. And we're just excited to have our young people come back and be with us. To anyone listening, I would encourage our parents and families to remember that we have open house planned on the week of August 21st. And so our middle school open house will be Tuesday, August the 22nd from 5 to 7 at our 2 middle schools. Our high school open house will be Wednesday, August 23rd, and that is from 5 to 7. And then our elementary school open house will be on August the 24th, Thursday, from 4 to 6. So wonderful opportunity for families to come out, meet their child's teacher, get their child's schedule, sign up to ride a school bus if you've not already done that, which is a very important thing to do if any parents want to ride a school bus. But I think that'll just be a wonderful week to meet the teachers and staff, and then that next Monday we're going to be back into it for this coming school year. So really excited about some things that are coming. We're going to, in the next couple of weeks, be announcing some really big gains and successes that we've had this past school year. And so when we're able to do that, we're just so excited to be able to share some news with our community about some of the things we've accomplished this year. But in the meantime, just proud of all of our staff and students. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Next up, we need to have a motion, please, to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for June 26, 2023 as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Old and a second from Mr. Walton to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Ms. Parker, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
and Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is the public comment portion of our meeting this evening. We are very thankful that the community has an opportunity to come out and provide us with feedback. Ms. Parker, do we have names? We have one name this evening for public comment, and that is Mr. Sawyer. Just a reminder that during public comment, there are 3 minutes permitted for that opportunity. Mr. Sawyer, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. First of all, just for my verification, I want to make sure that the seat was filled by someone that lives outside of the city limits. Nothing against you, Ms. Bowles. I just wanted to verify my conscience. I know a lot of shady stuff happens in this building. I want y'all to know I'm very, very disappointed and upset that I was not considered for an interview. As you all know, I ran last fall. Garnered a number of 3,000 votes. I have a lot of support. The only reason why y'all didn't grant me an interview was out of spite and That's the wrong way to do business. While the other candidates were out from dawn to dusk on the tents early voting, passing out cookies and cold pizza and hot water, I was out working 12, 13-hour shifts a day trying to put food on my family's table. My check doesn't come in my mailbox like a lot of y'all, so I still got to work. And to say that, and then still almost garnered 3,000 votes, this is awful that y'all snubbed me. I can't believe that 5 of you were this sorry to do this to me. I can understand Ms. Warden, that's her character, but y'all other 5, I'm appalled that y'all would do that. And also, why would y'all even interview me for the COA school board seat there, knowing you weren't going to select me, but not even interview me for this? You could at least interview me knowing you're wasting my time. You know, y'all were on the clock, not me. You know, y'all getting paid, I'm not. I mean, it just don't make any sense. I've talked to people since Wednesday about this, people that's for me and people that are against me. It don't make any sense, y'all. To garner almost 3,000 votes, you know, and then to hear me out for the COA seat, but not hear me out for this one, it's awful. I can't believe y'all stooped this low. I mean, I'm really learning the real meaning of dirty politics. I was crushed. Both of my eyes were bloodshot red from crying ever since Wednesday. I can't believe y'all did this to me. You should at least heard me out for the 3,000 numbers of people that voted for me. This is awful. And I know why y'all did it, you know? I got a lot of great intentions. I spent 17 years on that field. You know, blood, sweat, heart. You know how many times I went in my pocket? How many hours I spent those last 17 years? You know, able to collect 3 of these, only wear 2 of them because one of them shrank. I can't wear it no more. I mean, this is ridiculous. I just want y'all to know how I feel. I know there's nothing I can do about it until next fall.
Mr. Sawyer.
Okay. But like Denzel Washington said, be careful who you throw away. You may need that person tomorrow.
Okay, at this time, we are going to move into our other agenda items for this evening. The first item business on our agenda is a report from Sharon Warden, who is the chair of our Financial Business and Technology Committee. So I'm going to turn that over to Ms. Warden at this time.
At this time, I'd like to call on Ms. Haynes, our financial director, to make a presentation about various items that are for information as well as for action tonight. So with that said, Ms. Haynes.
I apologize for the mic. Chair Cobb, Vice Chair Perez, and Committee Chair Warden, good evening. Board members, good evening. We do have several items on the agenda this evening. The first 2 being for information. FBT 01 is the rental report. Are there any questions on the rental report for July? Okay, and the second item on the agenda is for information as well. FBT 02 is the purchasing report. Any questions on this month's purchasing report?
Ms. Haynes, I do have one quick question. The Paxton-Patterson lab information, where is that going exactly? Is CTE, is it going to middle school, high school?
I think Mr. Old is correct. I didn't bring the purchase with me, but...
Middle school? Okay. Okay, I just wanted to I thought that's what it was, but I just want to double check and make sure.
I believe so, but I can send you details on that.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions on the purchasing report? FBT 03. 02, sorry. Any other questions on the purchasing report? Okay, the next item on the agenda is FBT 03, and this is a revision to the board meeting schedule that was previously approved. We are revising the meeting dates in August and May to reflect the fourth Monday for August and then the Tuesday following the holiday in May. So the fourth Monday is Memorial Day in May. Are there any questions on the revisions to the board calendar?
Just one other point for clarification, Ms. Haynes. There were also a couple of location changes on the board schedule, just so that we could make sure we had adequate representation across the district for our schools to have a chance to host.
Any other questions on changes to the board meeting schedule? Okay. The next item, again, is for action, FBT 04. This is the micro-purchase threshold certification resolution. So the board adopted this resolution last year. However, it's required to be adopted annually. And what this does is it allows us to raise our micro-purchase threshold for federal funds, which is typically $10,000, to match our local purchasing policies. Any questions on that resolution? Okay, the next item on the list is FBT 05, and this is the fundraising requests that have been submitted to date. And we have quite a few of them. Are there any questions on fundraisers at this time? And the next item, again, is for action. This is FBT 06, and this is the scheduled tuition and fees for the coming school year. Any questions on those items?
I did have one on that, Ms. Haynes. I noticed that some of our elementary schools have a yearbook, but not all.
Correct. A couple of them have submitted requests to do a yearbook.
Okay.
All of them have not at this
Okay.
time. And they may, but we haven't, this is the ones we've received to date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and moving on, the next item again is for action. This is FBT 07, and then if it's okay, Ms. Warden, we're probably going to take a pause and do action on these items and then move forward. This addresses our after-school care program. So when we came back for after school, one thing we didn't want to do was burden our families with a rate increase when we reopened after school. However, last year, we have lost money in our after-school program, around $45,000. So what we're proposing to the board this evening, and just to give a little bit of background as to where we are in after school, we have about 88 students that attend our after-school program. 50 of them pay a full rate, 23 of them a reduced rate, and about 15 are students of employees. Our current structure is broken up into several different types of rates and several different discount levels. So if you look at your attachment, FBT 07, it kind of outlines those rates and then our proposed rates moving forward. So over to the left, you have the current rates. We currently offer a 5-day option, a 3-day option, and a 2-day option to parents, and you can see the rates listed beside those. For those parents that have more than one student in the district, we charge the regular rate for the first student and then a 10% discounted rate for the second student. Employees currently receive a 50% discount. And then we have what they call a drop-in program for our full-time employees, or actually employees of the district, where with notice you can use a day at a time and pay $20. And then for the months of December and April, we have reduced rates. Our proposal for the program moving forward is for August, which is actually September, but for September through December, we want to open the program very similar to the rates that are being charged now. So we want to eliminate the 3- and 2-day option and go with just a 5-day option. I think that's pretty standard in the daycare world, that you commit or you don't commit. And we're going to leave that rate at the $150. We're going to continue through September through December with that 10% discount, so that would be $150 and then $135. And then for employees, continue with the 50% discount, because we do not want to put burden on our employees that they don't know about at this time, because this is a new proposed rate increase. Then what we'd like to do is, this would give our current members some notice, and moving into January, we will increase the rate for a 5-day option to $200 a month, change the discount rate to be a discounted rate of 25% if you have more than one child in the district. So that would come out to $150 per child. And then for employees, we would leave a 50% discount, which would be $100 a month rate. So what this would do for us, if we are able to, if the board adopts this fee structure for the coming year, is we estimate that it's going to increase revenue such that at the end of the year, for this year, we'd come out with about a $5,000 to a $10,000 loss. And the next year, we'd make that up as we continue through the program. We do have fund balance to cover that loss. Are there any questions on the proposed rates? Right, Ms. Warden, if there are no questions, if we could take action on those before moving forward.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to move to approve FBT-03, which is the revised ECPPS 2023-2024 meeting schedule. FBT-04, the micro purchase threshold certification resolution. FBT-05, the fundraisers. FBT-06, the schedule of fees, and FBT-07, after-school rates for 2023-2024. Is there any discussion? I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion at this time about any of those items? Okay. So a roll call vote, Ms. Parker?
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
and Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is FBT-08. And this is the discussion of revised rates to our athletic training services contract, which are services provided to us by Centera. So as the board knows, we entered into a contract July 1st of 2015 for athletic training services with Centera, along with some of our neighboring counties who also use their services for athletic training. The price at that time, it was an annualized rate of $52,000 with an annual increase of 3%. Centera has not asked for an increase or a change in that since 2015. However, as we all know, the cost of services has increased beyond 3% since 2015. So what we've provided to you is, after discussions with Centera, 3 different recommendations or 3 different ways that we could revise our contract in order to get back in line with what services cost. So our recommendation to the board is to do a straight increase of 10% over the next. It's annualized here over 5 years, but we've negotiated with Centera to meet again after 3 years to be able to discuss those rates again and see where we are at that time, with a guarantee that the rate would not increase beyond the 10% at that time for the next 2 years. Are there any questions on that or on that rate increase? The athletic trainers are at the high school level. We have 2 dedicated athletic trainers at the high school level. However, Centera has been a great partner for us and with us. Outside of just athletic training services, they hold physical clinics. They've done other trainings that we've needed for us and just overall been great supporters of our programs. They do not have dedicated trainers. They do get first responder and other type of services through, district employees and others.
So at this time, I'd like to move to, approve the FBT-08, the Centera contract rates for athletic trainers.
And yes, ma'am, the 10% increase.
A 10% increase. Yes. I need a second.
Second.
Okay. And no further discussion on that item. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
I recuse.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
and Sharon Warden.
Yes.
And the final item on the agenda for us this evening, Ms. Warden, FBT-09, is the quote from Tri-Solutions for the floor restorations of the Northeastern High School gym restroom complex, or complex with the restrooms involved, of course. It's the JV locker room, the varsity locker room, men's and women's, the office restroom, the girls' locker room 8, and boys' locker room number 26. So it should be all of the restrooms in that athletic complex. And if you have questions about the technical part of it, Ms. Wilkins is here to answer any questions. Tri-Solutions is the same company that's been doing the floor restorations throughout our district.
Are there any questions for Ms. Wilkins? Okay. So at this time, I'd like to move to approve FBT-09, the quote from Tri-Solutions for the NHS Gym Complex restrooms floor restorations.
Second.
Okay. No discussion, we need a roll call vote.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
and Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Chair Warden, if there are no other questions, that concludes our report.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. That concludes our report, Ms. Cobb.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Haynes and Ms. Warden, for bringing that information to the board. Next on our agenda, we will look at the Personalized Education Committee with Pam Pereza, our chair. I'll turn the meeting over to her.
Okay, thank you. We'll ask Mr. Sammy Fudge, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, to come and talk to us about the H.L. Trigg Alternative Schools Modified Accountability System Options.
Good evening, Madam Chair, good evening, Madam Chair Cobb, Vice Chair Pereza, distinguished board members, and Superintendent Dr. Parker. I come before you this evening to present information regarding the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction Alternative School Modification Accountability System option for the 23-24 school year. This alternative school modified accountability system was developed to provide additional accountability information on eligible schools and to supplement the school performance grade as defined by policy 115C-8315. The alternative school modified accountability system is not a substitute for Everyday Student Success Act, also known as ESSA, requirements. North Carolina State Board of Education policy ACCT-038 established the eligibility criteria for participating schools and the options available for use by eligible schools. Schools identified by this system continue to be part of the accountability and reporting and are required to be included in the assessment and participation reporting also. According to the North Carolina SF State Plan, all schools receiving a school performance grade for identification of comprehensive support and improvement, also known as CSI, and targeted support improvement schools, also known as TSI, for schools participating in alternative modification system under option B or C. The school performance grade will be reported as required under ESSA for these eligible schools, but would not be included in the school report card as described by school performance grading reporting. For this upcoming school year, we're requesting that H.L. Trigg Community School return all their school student data to the base school within our LEA. H.L. Trigg Community School will be given the letter grade of the schools where the highest percentage of students are sent back. Since H.L. Trigg participates in the modified system, ECPPS must submit this request annually. For the 23-24 school year, in previous years, ECPP has selected this option for H.L. Trigg Community Schools. Being that the end goal for the students at H.L. Trigg is successful transition back to their home school, the Testing and Accountability Department is requesting that you select option B for the 23-24 Alternative School Modified Accountability System. At this time, do you have any questions?
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Fudge? Okay, if not, I would like to make a motion to approve option B for the H.L. Trigg Alternative Schools Modified Accountability option.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've got a motion by Ms. Pereza and a second by Mr. Old. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Parker, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Sheila Williams, Yes. Tommy Old,
Yes.
Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton.
Yes.
And Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Thank you. Also, board members, on your agenda, we also have recommend that the school board look at reducing our current graduation requirements from 28 credits to 26 credits. In making this decision, our research was based on local districts in our area. As you see, the 3 schools, Dare County, Craven County, and Harnett County, all require a 26 credit hour graduation requirement. We also looked at Camden County schools also, and they require a 24 credit graduation requirement. Our current requirement is 28 credits. And if you look at that piece, we're requiring our kids to complete 4 credits in English, 4 in math, 3 in science, 4 in social studies, 2 in art, world language, or CTE, 1 in health PE, or other class electives. With our new proposal of 26 credits, as far as the graduation requirement, we're looking at still 4 credits in English, 4 in math, 3 in science, 4 in social studies, 2 in art, world language, or CTE, health PE 1 credit, and other electives. We're looking at reducing that by 2 credits to 8 credits. Some of the benefits are going towards a 26 credit requirement for our students. Opportunity to reduce the dropout rate, strong potential to increase the graduate cohort among our high schools, allow more students the opportunity for dual enrollment at CEA, so creating additional pathways for our kids, giving more students options to take AP classes, but not only AP classes, but also CTE classes, reducing the number of students attending summer school. We feel that with this recommendation of 26 credits, we won't have kids that are having to go to summer school as far as catching up. It would reduce the number of students eligible for Edgenuity for credit recovery, and also it would provide intern opportunities for our students. If moving towards 26 credits, it would not affect our daily enrollment rate or our daily ADM for the school year. That will remain the same. Any questions at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Fudge, and I'll add just a couple points there. And I want to say, first of all, thank you to you and your team that have done quite a bit of work on this for the past really 6 months. We've been kind of exploring, and we've gone through and we researched every county in the state. And there are 115 education agencies in the state, 100 counties, 115 school districts, and wanted to see how many credits they offer. And so what we saw is there's a striking number of districts that offer the required credits of 22. So the state requires that every high school have at least 22 credits to graduate, and so that is a requirement to get a diploma in North Carolina. Some districts, many of them have 22. Some of them have 24. Some have 26, some have 28. And so what we found is there are more districts that are moving away from the 28 credit option, and they're moving more toward the 26 or 24, but there's also a really healthy number that have the 22. And so in a part of our analysis, we run an analysis of every junior and senior to see how going to the 26 would have an impact on them. And what we've seen is that it would give opportunities for kids that are already on track to do more things like COA enrollment, as Mr. Fudge pointed out, enrollment in CTE courses, taking advanced courses, and that's one thing. For students that may have failed a course or may have needed to retake a course, going to the 26 will give them a greater opportunity to graduate on time. And the board approved our 22 credit option at the last meeting for HL Trigg, but that program is exclusive to HL Trigg. So to get into the 22 credit option, a student would have to enroll in our alternative program. And so the benefit of this program is it will give students an opportunity that may have gotten a little behind to still graduate at their home school and still be able to get back on time. And so this is a new pathway, I think, that could be really beneficial. It's not our belief that it will result in an increase in a tremendous amount of early graduation, in part because if you're become a senior and you've passed every course, then you're already potentially at 28 credits. You can get up to 32 credits and beyond in our school right now, and many students do that. And if you took a high school course in middle school, you could even go beyond that. And so, but you have to have English 4 before you can early graduate. And so, oftentimes students are not taking that credit till their senior year, and many students take English 4 in their second semester. So we don't have a belief that this is going to result in a tremendous amount of early graduates, but it will open up a lot of pathways, both for high-performing kids, but also for kids that may have struggled, giving them an opportunity to get back on track. So, and I think this will also put us in line with more consistently what districts are doing across the state with the 28 credit. One last thing I'll add is we're very excited that our graduation rate from last year has increased by a little over 10 points. And so we are moving in the right direction on graduation rate. And our district average is going to be in the 70s. We can't stop until we get to at least a 95% graduation rate. That is our goal. We got to keep going toward that place. This is going to be a pathway to help us get there. Because as we said in the last meeting, you shouldn't be a teenager and feel like you have to leave our schools to get back on track. And the only way we can get kids on track is we got to give them opportunities. Every kid can't go into the exact mold. And so what I encourage the board to think of in this is it's just a different pathway. It's a new opportunity to get more kids an opportunity to graduate on time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fudge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fudge and Ms. Perez both for that information. Now we will turn the meeting to the Policy Committee and Mr. Old, the chair.
Thank you, and I'm going to defer to Ms. Rhonda James Davis.
Good evening. Just a little shorter than Mr. Fudge. Madam Chair Cobb, Madam Vice Chair Pereza, Mr. Old, who's the chair of this policy committee, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Parker, colleagues and members of the community. I'm going to start by going to PC06 because that is going to be for information only. And so last month, our technology director read to you policy number 3226-4205, which is the internet safety. She read that, given the information to the board, but as far as to be compliant with the Children's Internet Protection Act, it's also called SIPA, there also had to be a public notice published on the website for public review. And so I'm just letting you all know that that's going to be, that's on our website. And during the August meeting, we will have to have opportunity for members of the public to comment if they so choose. I'll ask Mr. Leidy, I'll yield to Mr. Leidy so he can give you more information on that.
Ms. James Davis is correct. This particular policy has sort of an unusual process that has to be followed for it to be adopted, and that is there must be a public hearing on the matter, which requires notice be given to the public that there will be an opportunity to come and comment on this policy before this policy is adopted. So while it's on your agenda today and it says for first read, I'm not sure why that is. What really needs to be done is that the public hearing needs to be scheduled for the next board meeting, needs to be conducted at that meeting, and at that time the board can take action to adopt this policy.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Leidy. And so tonight is going to be the second reading for proposed revisions to the following policies, and it's listed as PC01, Policy 4220, which is Student Insurance Program. Then it's PC02, Policies 4240-7312, Child Abuse and Related Threats to Child Safety. PC03, which is policy 6125, which is administering medicines to students, and PC04, which is policy 6220, operations of school nutrition services. In addition, we have the PC05, which is the which is policy 3460, which is the graduation requirement, and that's what Mr. Fudge just went over, as well as Dr. Parker. And so if, and as stated, this was the second reading to PC-01 through 04. And so do you have any further questions or concerns regarding the recommended revisions? If none, I'm requesting a motion to suspend Board Policy 2420, which is the adoption of policies, and waive the first reading on the policy for 3460, and then an action to approve it.
Okay, let's do 1 through 4 first.
1 through 4,
Let's
okay.
do 1 through 4 first, if we can. We need a motion to approve PC01, 4220 Student Insurance Program, PC02, 4240, 7312, Child Abuse and Related Threats to Child Safety, PC03, 6125, Administering Medicines to Students, and PC04, 6220, Operation of School Nutrition Services. Can we get a motion for that, please?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Auld made a motion. Can I have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on those 4 policies?
I do have one question. Regarding the administration of medicines to students, is this more focused on like K-12? Because I know that in a pre-K classroom, this could be slightly different based on the DCDE rules.
So in this policy revision, it was a reference to the Epilepsy Alternative Treatment Act, which has been repealed, so it's now being deleted as it's no longer relevant.
Slightly different. Okay. Thank
The
you.
the update also includes necessary updates to legal references.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Ms. Parker, can we get a roll call vote, please, on that first motion?
Dr. Sheila Williams.
Yes.
Tommy Old.
Yes.
Pam Pereza.
Yes.
Rodney Walton.
Yes.
And Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And now we need to have a motion to suspend Board Policy 2420, adoption of policies, and waive the first read of the policy 3460. So can I get a motion on that, please?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Old's made a motion for that.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Do we have any discussion for that motion? Okay, can we get the roll call vote, please, Ms. Parker?
Dr. Sheila Williams.
Yes.
Tommy Old.
Yes.
Pam Pereza.
Yes.
Rodney Walton.
Yes.
And Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Thank you. So now we have made a motion and it's been approved to waive that policy in the first read. Now we need a motion to approve policy 3460.
I move to approve policy 3460.
Second.
PCO 5 3460.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Williams and a second by Ms. Pereza. Do we have any further discussion on policy 3460? Okay, Ms. Parker, roll call vote, please.
Dr. Sheila Williams.
Yes.
Tommy Old.
Yes.
Pam Pereza.
Yes.
Rodney Walton.
Yes.
And Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Old and Ms. James Davis, for bringing that information to us this evening. Now I'm asked Dr. Sheila Williams if you will take us into closed session, please.
I motion for the board to go into closed session as allowed by NC General Statute 143 through 318, 11A6, for the purpose of considering one or more personnel matters that are confidential, and 143 through 318, 11A1 under NC General Statute 115C through 320, and as allowed by NC Statute 143 through 318, 11A3, to consult with the board attorney regarding matters protected by the attorney-client privilege and to preserve that privilege.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. We will now go into closed session. I would just like to say thank you to all of the directors here this evening. We do have to take a vote before we do that. Sorry. Let me go ahead and tell you thank you anyway then. Thank you guys for coming. It makes a long day for you, and we really do appreciate your presence here. And to our guests, thank you so much for coming as well. We need a roll call vote now to go into closed session. Ms. Parker.
Who seconded that?
I'll second.
Ms. Pereza seconded.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Sheila Williams?
Yes.
Tommy Old?
Yes.
Pam Pereza?
Yes.
Rodney Walton?
Yes.
And Sharon Warden?
Yes.